Welcome everyone to the newest installment of Exit Interviews, where we chat with recently eliminated contestants of Inanimate Insanity Invitational. My name's Chelsea, and we're here with someone who not only crushed the game, but also did so while defying all odds to be themselves. Introducing Bot, the one and only.
Hey! Hi everyone! So excited to be here and tell you about all things Bot, from the B to the T, and in between we'll amaze ya.
And now, on to the questions. First of all, we're all so proud of you and how far you went in the competition. How did you feel when you got eliminated? Do you wish you could have stayed longer?
Well, who doesn't, right? I was pretty bummed I couldn't win. I tried to take it in stride, but that doesn't make losing to a magical flying orb any easier. But there's also something peaceful about being with everyone here on Indefinite. We're all the same. There's only one winner, but there's so many of us. After feeling alone in my head for a bit, I think this is what's healthy for me. To be around people who understand me.
That's so nice. Moving on, are you upset with Balloon and Nickel not switching the vote?
Ugh. Balloon and Nickel could not get it together. I really liked my time with them on the Loony Balloonies. Everything was so fun and goofy. Hence the name. But I guess they still have some issues to work out, and it just sucks getting caught in the middle of that. So yeah, I am upset with them.
That totally makes sense. Does that mean you're not going to be rooting for them?
Probably not. I like them and all, and I'll always appreciate the time we had together. And Silver's alright. We work together, and he's fun to mess with. But honestly, even if it took a little while, it's Cabby who I connected with the most out there. I feel bad for misjudging her for so long. We didn't get off on the right foot, and because I was so connected to Test Tube, it was easy to paint her as a villain. But she's so selfless and gives so much time to understand others. It's kinda hard not to root for her.
Oh, great pick. And what about life here on Indefinite Island? Has it matched your expectations?
Cabby would tell us how grim it is here, so yeah, more or less. And I really do wish Paintbrush ended up staying. It's sad not having such an icon around. But Goo and I have been working overtime trying to spark back up the Cheer Factory! We've been doing all we can to keep up everyone's spirits in these trying times. Crafting activities, karaoke nights, puppet shows, but with coconuts. Goo pitched this great idea. What were they called again?
Smiles on a stick. Trademark incoming. Now we can finally make up a real factory and rob Blueberry of his frown and make everyone sing with fun!
Woo! We've also had a blast getting everyone involved in games with N/A. My favorite's one where we try and figure out the correct order of words in a sentence that N/A replicates out of order.
Oh, that's so cool! So can N/A actually say stuff on their own, or do they just repeat after you?
N/A, come over here! Well, they can't come up with words completely on their own, but they can sort of save anything they've heard and repeat it exactly, or rearrange the words.
Stick up, everyone! No smiles! Robberry incoming!
For the audio listeners, as convincing as that is, that was N/A.
Super impressive! And you seem to like N/A so much that you risk the challenge to keep them.
Of course! I wasn't gonna let them die. Even though it seems that their kind enjoys it? I don't know. I wanted to help them not just have to say the things that they're told to say. That's not living. They're their own person. And now they're rocking it. And say what's on their mind. It feels free. This way! Thank you.
For the audio listeners, that last sentence was N/A. Speaking of all these games you do, are you actually an international pro gamer?
Nah, I've never had the chance to play a video game before. That was honestly just what I was telling Cabby when I started feeling sorta insecure about myself. She'd been writing in a bow file, and based on what we've been through, I didn't have a lot of faith that she'd get me, which, of course, doesn't make lying to her right. But that's what I did. And I'm sorry, now knowing what I know about her files. But I do have an arts and crafts project in mind to try and make it up to her. And then maybe after that, I can become a pro gamer in the real.
Oh, let's go! I'll be rooting for you. And what about cartoons? If you have to pick a favorite, what would it be?
Cartoons! Wow, I haven't seen any, but I'd love to get into some actiony ones. All Bo would watch are those boring adult cartoons where they make insensitive jokes and say naughty words, as if that's a punchline. I guess I could ask Testu to program some into me overnight, so I can watch them in my head on the Rejoin Challenge boat trip tomorrow. I just need an overnight shutdown. So, as long as I'm off for the full night, and there are absolutely no interruptions that'd make me turn back on in the middle of the night, I'll be good to go. I'm not tired at all.
Oh, very specific. Speaking of Bo, would you ever want to meet her? Do you think the two of you will become friends?
Well, as interesting as that sounds, it's something I feel pretty conflicted about. But luckily for me, I don't need to decide that, being that she moved on and all. Not to sound disrespectful.
No, I totally get it. We can flip this to some positives. How does it feel being MePhone's favorite contestant?
Oh, wow. You think I am? Well, if it's true, it's an honor. Especially since, back in the day, he'd be a little grumpy with me. I'm glad we're able to turn that around, because I think he's really cool. Go Robo-Pals!
Woo! The listeners would also love if you could tell us about your monster stories, like you've mentioned before.
Oh gosh, where do I start? For a while, I've been focused on a lot of stories about creepy crawlies of the night, beings beyond our comprehension. But as of late, I've been more interested in digital horror. Having your sense of self challenged in a world where you're only everything you feel confident telling the world you are. And even then, is that enough? You can maybe guess where my inspiration for that comes from. And when I'm done writing, Goo's looking into making the movie adaptation. He's pretty determined to prove himself after the animation challenge. I think it'll be great.
Terrifying! But that does remind me, are you scared at all about introducing yourself to Fan? I'm sure he would be proud.
I guess so, yeah. I'm sure these things will get easier and easier. Sometimes I just wish these things didn't need to be such a big deal, that I didn't need to make a moment out of it. But they did this to me. I mean, sorry, I don't mean, that was N/A.
For the audio listeners, that was not N/A.
Ugh. I honestly do feel weird sometimes about how I was made. What test tube and Fan were thinking would come out of it. They wanted me to be someone else, but I'm my own person. So as long as they don't make it an uphill climb for me to prove that, then we can be on even footing. And despite the weird, questionable decisions that brought me here, I can continue to take this life that they've given me and make it my own. Even if all of that messes with my head sometimes, I'll always appreciate that I'm here.
That's a nice way to look at it. Was coming back here to test tube that nerve-wracking?
Well, yeah, of course. Test tube knew about my voice change, even helped with it. But some of these newer changes are just so me. And if there was any of it that she didn't like, I felt like that would destroy me. But after I was thrust into the moment, the fears were over so quickly that it didn't even feel real. She held me tight, told me how much she cared no matter what. And the world kept spinning. And I'm really grateful that the person I care about was able to give me that. I imagine not everyone can be as lucky as I am. And I'm here for anyone who isn't as lucky. Best wishes to you all.
That's so inspiring to hear, Bot. I don't think that there'll be a better place to wrap up, but there. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us, and to our Inanimate audience for all of your amazing questions. Remember to subscribe to join the next opportunity to have your question read. This has been Chelsea with IPR, signing off.